Hi there guys and welcome to this little video. So first of all I want to apologize that I did not upload an episode of Klana today. It's basically because I edited the episode wrong and I found out after I uploaded it. And then I had to take it down again and now it's editing again and I have to upload it. So like it will probably take something around 6 or 7 hours or something. My internet is really slow. So I thought, what can I do that uploads very fast and at the same time I always wanted to do? Well, I always wanted to talk about To the Moon because it's one of my all-time favorite games. Now for those of you who don't know To the Moon is an RPG Maker game. Even for RPG Maker game standards, it's very story heavy, so like 95% of the game is story, if not more. And it's very well written, the story is great, the characters is great, basically everything about it is great. And from now on I will talk about it and I will also mention a lot of spoilers. So if you have never checked out the game, if you have never played it, if you have never seen a Let's Play, go buy it, go watch it, do whatever your thing is. But please, I warn you, you don't want to see this if you have never checked the game itself out. So let's start how I found out about To the Moon. Well, I probably found out about To the Moon as many people in that point of time did. I found out about it via Cryotic's YouTube channel. In 2013 I started to watch Let's Plays. My first Let's Play was Mad Father, if you're interested. And yeah, Cry played a lot of RPG Maker games at that point of time, and one of them was To the Moon. And I basically loved it from the moment I saw it. Now I won't do a synopsis of the story or anything. As mentioned, there's a spoiler talk here, so I assume you already know the story. I at least really hope so. So let's just talk about why I like the game so much. As already mentioned, the story was just great. It got at least me from the very beginning to the very end. Also, a great aspect of the story is, you know, if you have ever seen a Let's Play of mine, you know how much I hate twists for the twist's sake. Let's say, for example, in the end you find out, I don't know, you were the cousin of the bad guy the whole time. Dum dum dum. You know, and I'm like, how should I have seen that coming? How was that built up? Why exactly is that? You know, I hate shit like that. Now that being said, To the Moon had one of the greatest twists in a game of all time. And I may be exaggerating, at least also for the reason that I am not that great of a gamer. I haven't played like all the games there are in the universe. But at least from all the games I have played, it is one of the greatest plot twists ever. Now the plot twist I'm talking about is of course the plot twist that Johnny and River know each other from their very childhood. Now why do I think that was so well executed? Well, in the beginning, in the more recent memories of Johnny, we get a lot of teasing stuff, like River making the bunny out of paper, the hacky sack at the marriage, and stuff like that, and more stuff like that. Now, you could say, isn't it kind of obvious then that in the end that will come back one way or the other? Well, yes, a bit. But the good thing the creator Kang Gao, by the way, a great talented guy, go look for Kang Gao's YouTube channel, he does cool stuff there. The good thing Kang Gao did there was putting the episode with the brother in between. Over the whole stuff with the brother, we totally, or at least I, totally forgot about all the stuff with River. It was so tragic with him losing the brother, and the mother getting a little bit crazy over it, giving him beta blocker and calling him, what was his brother's name again? I forgot, to be honest. Whatever his brother's name was, and all that. This was so shocking, this revealing was so shocking, that I completely forgot about actually everything else. And then suddenly we were at this market or what. Nah, that's not the correct English word. Yeah, whatever, you know, where they played whack-a-mole and stuff like that. And suddenly River came around the corner and I was like, whoa, they already knew each other. Huh. And then it was revealed that they promised each other. that they will meet each other at the moon again. And everything you got in the beginning of the game and in the middle part of the game, everything came back. Everything made sense. And it was so good. Like from a creative standpoint. And from a personal standpoint, it was so sad. The moment River said, well, Child River said, tell me about the bunny, it hit me like a sledgehammer in the head. Everything they did, like, hit me, and I was like, oh my god. No, really? And to be honest, you know, I'm not bullshitting you. As mentioned, the first time I saw To the Moon, I watched the Let's Play of Cry. And I had to stop the video. I was crying so bad. Like, I don't think I have ever cried so bad about anything in a video game ever in my life. Like, I legit was weeping and weeping and I couldn't stop because this was so fucking tragic. River spent her whole life trying to remind Johnny, but because of her Asperger's, it at least most likely is Asperger's, it's what everybody says, so I guess it's true. She couldn't tell him more directly. It's so sad. And yeah, that's another great aspect of the game. Like on the emotion side, like everything is right with this game, like literally everything. The only thing I personally, from time to time, not everything Neil said was always funny, but in general, like the dynamic between Neil and Eva worked very, very well. The dynamic between Johnny and River was interesting. The friends of River and Johnny were also interesting. Just everything about it was good. The characters were interesting. They were believable. The dialogues were well written, as far as I can remember at least. And just everything about the game was so right. The only mini negative thing I have to say about To the Moon is, no, it's not about the gameplay. To be honest, like, I do not really care all that much in a story like this. If the story is that good, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck about gameplay? I hate people who say shit like this. I really hate... Wow, that was more intense than I actually wanted it to come out. But you know, who gives a fuck at that point? No, it's not about the gameplay. It's about the fact that I did not believe for a second that Johnny and River wouldn't meet each other in the end again. Like, I did not believe that for a second. And that is why when everyone, like, when you watch YouTube Let's Plays, like, nearly everybody breaks down at the everything is alright part, you know? And I was like, yeah, no, this is not how it's going to end. No, definitely not. No. And in the end, I was right. They met each other at NASA again. So, you know, that, I don't know how, to be honest. Like, I haven't a better idea how you could have done that. But as mentioned, Eva and Neil, they were like, you know Eva wouldn't do that without having a plan. Like, Eva was well established enough as a character who thinks ahead, that I was sure enough that she had a plan in her back pocket. As we say in German, I don't know if that is an English saying. So, yeah, I didn't buy that really. So that's the only mini negative thing I have to say. But for the fact that the scene of Johnny and River looking at the moon hit me so hard, I guess I can totally forgive that. Let's talk a bit about the potential for a To the Moon sequel. Now, it is well known that Kangao works on a To the Moon sequel called Finding Paradise, if I remember correctly. And from time to time he posts stuff on his Twitter and stuff, and it's cool checking out. I think I'll leave a link to his Twitter in the description below. And yeah, everybody is really hyped, including me. Now, first of all, before we talk about the actual sequel and its possibilities and potentials, first of all, I want to say that it was a very wise choice of Kangao, in my opinion, to make a bird story first. Because if he would have done the To the Moon sequel right after To the Moon, it might have been a disappointment, a really bad disappointment, if it wasn't as good as To the Moon. Having a game that is, well, still in the same universe, but from the gaming experience very different, I think was the wisest decision a game maker could have made at that point. But nevertheless, a sequel has to compete with To the Moon. And that won't be easy, because the first game set the bar really, really high. And there are a lot of things that could actually go wrong. Well, probably not a lot of things, but like 1 or 2 points actually. For example, the first time playing To the Moon, it took me personally really, really by surprise how good and how emotional that was. I was totally unprepared for this. Now that being said, I go in a sequel with the expectation that it is going to make me, very emotional, maybe to the point that I cry again or something like that. And with that expectation, it's actually a lot harder to fulfill this expectation. So the story actually has to be really, really good to get the same reaction at least out of me, as To the Moon. To the Moon had it easier, let's be honest. To the Moon had it a lot easier because nobody of us saw coming on what an emotional roller coaster this game is. Also, the creator can't just recycle the whole plot again. I mean, it's still the same setting. Patients go to a doctor and... no, the other way around. Doctors go to a patient who is about to die and they change his memory and stuff. But it has to be, I personally think it should be like a bit different. And to be honest, I don't see that many options that could be as emotional as the To the Moon setting, and at the same time different enough that it is, a worthy sequel. Because a sequel has to be able to stand on its own feet and not live from the hype of the original, And I personally, I have no idea what I would do if I was in Kang Gao's shoes now. And I really hope he does. On the other hand, he is probably way more intelligent than me, so let's hope for the best. But I imagine it to be quite difficult living up story-wise to the Moon. Okay, and one final point. Assuming that Eva and Neil are the doctors in this story again, it will be difficult to go on with their relationship. Now, so far, the creator has handled their relationship very well. In the minisodes and in the game itself. The minisodes, for those who don't know, at Christmas, around Christmas time, Kang Gao released like a mini episode of To the Moon, or with the same characters from To the Moon. And so far he handled the relationships in there very well. But it's going to get tougher, just because of the fact we already know by now that there is, there has to go on something with Neil and Eva's relationship. At the same time, I'm not too sure I want that to be the main focus of the game, of a sequel. Now, it's tough to handle the right amount of everything. A new story that is interesting by itself, at the same time developing the relationship between Neil and Eva further. This won't be easy to handle, in my opinion. Like making the right amount of everything. And also, how do you want to develop the story between Eva and Neil? Like, you could just let them become a couple and everything is happy and stuff. But since we know Neil has a pill addiction and Eva uses the, whatever it was called, the machine you could change your memories with, she used that on herself in a minisode of To the Moon. We know something is definitely going to be wrong. Like, we know it's going to be wrong. And I don't know how Kang Gao is going to solve that, but I'm really, really curious to see. And, Hopefully he has like a good explanation for all of it. The fact of the matter is, I actually would love this game, Finding Paradise, to have like a really sad and tragical ending. But not in a good way, like To the Moon. To the Moon, I mean, there's still some aspects that are very sad, like River never getting Johnny to remember in her lifetime. But in the end, it was kind of a happy ending. At least sort of. This game should have like a really, really tragic, sad ending. Like they fuck up something with the patient, and Neil and Eva have a big fallout, like a gigantic fallout over something. And then in a third game, Neil and Eva's relationship could be like the main aspect of the game, and the patient's story is just like in the background, or maybe even no patient, because at that point we got deep enough into Neil and Eva's relationship that I actually think they are worth of their own game, different than in the second game, you know. So, yeah, these are things that could happen, that might happen, and, you know, if Kangao has great ideas for these, this could be even better than To the Moon. So I hope he really, really has great ideas. I just realized I sounded so negative with saying there is stuff that could possibly go wrong with Finding Paradise. Like, it is likely. Because I personally think, like, I really personally think Kangao wouldn't even make this game if he wasn't himself sure that he could do something that satisfies him and his viewers, at least to a certain extent. So with all that being said, with all the stuff that could go wrong, like handling the patient's story being too similar, or being too boring, or Neil and Eva's relationship isn't handled well, or something like that, you know. With all that said, I really do not believe that Kangao will handle anything of that bad. No, I'm actually quite positive that this will be as good as To the Moon. Only on the emotional side, as mentioned. Like, on the objective side, I'm pretty sure it will be as good as To the Moon. On the subjective side, it might be difficult to live up to the emotional hype To the Moon has, you know. So, that was me talking about To the Moon. If you have any questions, you want to know what I think about that or this about the game or something, leave it down in the comments below. And I hope you are as hyped for the game Finding Paradise. I don't know when it will drop yet. I hope like at some point in 2016, but I don't think Kangao ever said something about it. And yeah, I hope you liked this and you were interested in my thoughts. I mean, if you weren't, you're probably not here anymore and listening to me. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, Clanat will be back tomorrow, promised. And as mentioned, support Kangao, play To the Moon if you haven't and you still have watched this whole video. And yeah, support the sequel. And yeah, I'll see you then. Bye bye.